Hey guys, we're going to take some notes now on triangles. So this is the foldable that you're going to use, the sheet that we're going to cut and fold so that we can make a little mini flip book, as it tells you right here on these instructions. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut on the dotted lines only. Don't cut everything, we're just cutting on the dotted lines. Then we're going to fold the pages in the solid lines, okay, to make that mini flip book. So this is what I mean. The dotted lines is right there. We're going to cut along those lines, and we're going to use these solid lines to fold. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to fold like this. So I'll go ahead and push pause in the video if you need to so you can cut. But once you have it cut, now we're going to fold right there, and this is how I'm going to fold it. I'm going to fold it like this, and the same thing on this one. I'm going to fold this one back like that. Okay, so now when I turn them over, look what just happened. When I turn them over, I have some titles. I have title here, title there, a title there, and a title right there, which means that they have to be put together. So this one goes inside the other one, like this, and you can see now we have a little mini flip book, and we're gonna staple it right here. So use a stapler in your in my desk, so you can go ahead and make your flip book. And then we're gonna go ahead and fill in all of these little blanks step by step, so we can make sure we have good enough notes so we can do an activity for triangles, classifying triangles. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my answer key because I already did mine and it's stapled and it's done. So we're going to talk about, here we go. We're going to talk about the first page. And it says classifying triangles is the first title. To classify triangles, we need to know that triangles are polygons, which means they're closed shapes, right, with 3 or more sides. And in this case, it's just 3 because we have a triangle. And they have exactly 3 sides, so make sure you write it like that, 3 sides. Okay, so we're gonna open it up to see what the first little tablet tells us. So the first one tells us one way to name a triangle is by looking at its largest angle. So if it's an acute triangle, you're gonna have 3 acute angles because none of them are larger than the other. Actually, one would be larger maybe, unless you have all equal angles. But let's say you have an 80 degree right here, and then a 40, and then a 50 over here, something like that. Then the 80 is the largest angle. Well, that's an acute angle, right? So that means that it's going to be an acute triangle. For the obtuse, we're going to see the one that's bigger, the one that's opening up more. That's going to have to be greater than 90 degrees. And 90 degrees, anything greater than 90, like 100, 110, 120, anything like that, would make it obtuse. So this is the biggest angle because obviously that's a little angle, and that's also a little angle. So these two are acute. But we don't care about the little angles, we care about the largest angle. So here the largest angle, the example I gave you was 80. That's still acute because it's less than 90. Here, let's say it's 120. That's the biggest angle. This would be like, I don't know, 40, and then that would be like 20. So that means that this has to be the largest angle. And because that angle is more than 90 degrees, then we know it's going to be an obtuse triangle, since that it's an obtuse angle. This one is a right triangle because it has a right angle right there. Now, sometimes you can't see it because it's kind of like this, but if you turn your paper over to where that line is flat on your paper, you can see that this line right here is kind of like the floor, and then this is like a wall standing straight up. They're perpendicular. These two lines are not parallel. They're the opposite of parallel. Parallel means that they never cross, right? Well, perpendicular means that they cross exactly at a 90-degree angle, which is a right angle. You don't have to know that word right now, but we will put it on the word wall so you can see it. And you do have to practice that one. You probably already heard it before. So anyways, the way we show a right angle, a 90-degree angle, is by putting the little square right there. Okay, and because that is a 90-degree angle, the other angles have to be less than 90. Remember, all the 3 angles, what we talked about the notes that we did yesterday in class, was that all the 3 angles have to add up to 180. So if that's 90, then the other 2 have to add up to 90, because 90 plus 90 is 180. But you don't have to know that yet. All we're looking at is looking at the biggest angle, which is this one. If that's a right angle, then this is a right triangle. All right. Now, I've already done the coloring for you guys, so you can check your work. Here says shade each of the acute triangles yellow. Well, this is acute because you can see that all the angles are not even 90 degrees like this one. Same thing for that one, and same thing for that one. Actually, this one looks like they're all the same size, so that means it's a special triangle where all the sides are equal. Can you tell me what the name of a triangle is that has all equal sides? We're going to talk about that in just a minute. You're probably right. We'll see. All right, so obtuse triangles are going to be blue. And the obtuse triangles, we can identify them because it has a big angle, remember? That's not a big angle. That's not a big angle, but this one is. You can see that it's opening up. You can even turn it like this so you can see straight. And this is not like a wall that's standing straight up. It's like falling out. So in other words, it's opening more than 90 degrees. So that's your obtuse triangle because that's an obtuse angle right there. On this one, that's acute, so this one might be obtuse. Oh, I'm turning my shape like this, and now you can see that it's flat. And this is actually opening up more than just the 90-degree angle. So that's my obtuse angle right there, which means that this is an obtuse triangle. And then finally, we are going to, oops, I forgot to write triangles. The right triangles have to be colored red. So I put a little square with a red marker so you can see, and then I just outline them in red so you can see the right angle where that is. So there's my right angle, there's the floor, and there's the wall straight up. On this one, the same thing. There's the wall right there, the floor, and then there's the wall. And it doesn't matter how you turn it. You can call that the floor and that the wall, or you can turn it this way and say, you know what, this is going to be the floor and that's going to be the wall because it is standing straight up if you put it perfectly straight. I don't know if I'm doing a good job with my camera or not. But anyways, that's it. And then the same thing on this one. Here's another angle that is exactly 90 degrees. There's a little square that I drew to show you that. So this is the color coding that you should have for these notes. Okay, the next thing that this is the angle size, right? So looking at the angle sizes. So basically just using what we learned here, practicing it right here to classify those triangles. That's a right triangle, acute triangle, obtuse triangle. And we're looking at the largest angle, okay? We're focusing on the largest angle. All right, the next thing that we're going to talk about here is triangles can also be classified by their side lengths. So one of them is the angles. Now we're talking about the sides. This is the special triangle that I was talking to you about just a few seconds ago. The equilateral triangle is the triangle that looks perfect. Like it looks like it has all the sides are equal to each other. And actually that's what it means because it has the word kind of equal right there at the beginning. So all equal sides. And guess what? This equilateral triangle also has all equal angles. And because all the angles have to add up to 180, if you take 180 and split it evenly into 3 angles or divide it by 3, you'll end up with 60 because 3 times 60 is 180. So then that means that all equilateral triangles have angles of 60 degrees. That one, and that one, they're all 60 degrees. But we're not talking about angles right now, we're just talking about the side lengths. That's why I didn't label them. All I'm doing is putting the little hash marks right there because it tells you that each side is equal to each other since every side only has one hash mark. The isosceles triangles, remember how we talk about that? The first 4 letters, isos, that means kind of like your eyes, okay? And then this is kind of like a way to remember what it means. So isosceles sounds like the word eyes. You have 2 eyes in your head, so that means that we're going to have 2 equal sides for this triangle. And in this case, the 2 equal sides are the top and the bottom because it's kind of laying down. And then the other side that's not equal would be this little short one. You can tell this one has 2 marks and these 2 have only 1 mark. It doesn't matter if these 2 have the 2 marks and then this one only has 1, as long as you can tell that the 2 sides are equal to each other by having the same amount of tick marks. All right, and then the last one is the scalene triangle. That's like the weird one. Okay, the scalene. It's kind of like that reminds me of like the scales of a fish, and nobody likes to touch the scales of a fish unless you're weird. I'm just kidding. I kind of like it. It's kind of weird. But anyways, the scalene triangles, if you think of the scales of a fish, it's like, that's weird. Well, you're right, because this is like the weird triangle. Nothing is equal to each other. Okay? So that one is only 1 tick mark. This one has 2 and this one has 3. Normally we put 1 tick mark on the short side and 3 tick marks on the longest side. So that means that the middle side is going to be the one with 2. That's normally what we do, but it doesn't have to be that way. And I call them tick marks, or they're also called hatch marks. Okay, so you can show the congruence, which means so you can show which ones are equal sides of the triangles. All right, now let's talk about these triangles. Let's see why I put these triangles in this Venn diagram like this. So we have 3 different types of triangles we just talked about, And the scaling triangles, those are the weird ones, right? So they're all here by themselves. Now think about this one. Isosceles means that there's two sides equal to each other. And equilateral means that all the sides are equal to each other. So when you put this circle inside this circle, or this, I don't know, shape inside this shape, that means that the equilateral triangles are also part of isosceles triangles, but not the other way around. The isosceles triangles do not go into this category. In other words, the equilateral triangles are isosceles, because the only thing that you need to be an isosceles triangle is two equal sides. Well, equilateral triangles have two equal sides. They actually have more than two equal sides. But since an isosceles triangle only needs is just two, then this is also considered an isosceles triangle because it has two. So you could call this an isosceles triangle and an equilateral triangle. Okay, that is why this is going to be the way that we put the triangles in this Venn diagram, by the side lengths. All right, my phone just told me that it's getting hot, so it's probably going to stop the video. Hopefully it doesn't. So let's see. The last step here is classifying them by their sides and their angles. So here's the triangle hierarchy by angles. Hierarchy is just like the king, the queen, who is the highest, who is the lowest, right? The prince, the princess, and then you have like the stable boy right at the very bottom kind of thing. So the main thing that we're going to talk about is the angles. If we're going to classify them by angles, then we're going to talk about these three things: the acute angle, the obtuse angle, and the right angle. Remember, we're looking for the largest angle. If the largest angle is acute, then it's going to be an acute triangle. If the largest angle is obtuse, then it's going to be an obtuse triangle. And if the largest angle is a right angle, which means equal 90 degrees, then the triangle is going to be called a right triangle. And then the last thing is the side lengths, the triangle hierarchy by the side lengths. So if the sides are all different sizes, then they're going to be scaling. Remember the fish? It's all weird. And then isosceles would be the ones that have two equal sides. But if you have more than two equal sides, then you have a special triangle, which is the equilateral triangle. Okay, so now this triangle hierarchy notes have been completed. This is when you fold it, and then the back of it is where you put your glue. You can put little, if you have liquid glue, you can use that, or you can just use the stick glues that we use in class to put the glue on there and then put it on your notes. Because now you're going to use this in order to complete this pink sheet in your station. So the pink sheet tells you you're going to have to draw a scaling triangle that's acute, a scaling triangle that's obtuse, a scaling triangle that's a right triangle. So a triangle can have two names. It can be scaling and acute, or scaling and obtuse, and scaling and right. Same thing over here. It could be isosceles and acute, or isosceles and obtuse. It can also be isosceles and right, or the same thing. You get it over here, right? Actually, you can't, because if you have an equilateral triangle, remember all the sides are the same. So I just told you a few minutes ago that all the sides are the same means all the angles are the same. So if all the angles have to be equal 180, remember what we talked about? Each angle has to be equal to, go back and watch the video if you didn't pay attention. So you can tell me what kind of triangle is going to be the equilateral. Is it going to be acute? Is it going to be obtuse? Or is it going to be right? And if it cannot be one of these, just put a big old X on the ones that you don't think it can be. But if you can draw one, then go ahead and draw one, okay? And then this sheet is like for two people, so make sure you cut it in half, and you only have to do half of it. Make sure you draw it, and you put the little hatch marks as needed. Thank you.